Hello everyone, my name is TheMadScorpyon and welcome to another reset update for Destiny 2. Now, because it is the second week of its act, there isn't many grand developments in terms of story. Unfortunately, that seems like it is the new norm. But in terms of other things, just as a whole, the Vespers double loot scenario is still going and is going all the way until December 3rd, which, if I'm just remembering dates correctly, is next reset. So you still have another full week to farm out the dungeon in case you're hunting rolls or the artifice armor from the dungeon or otherwise. But aside from that, we do have a few other things going on right now. Now, aside from the obvious details regarding the man standing behind me, there was a pop-up when I logged in today that basically said that there was some returned Bungie reward items into the store. Now, they did specify that they were retired things that basically meant if you wanted to buy them, good luck, you couldn't. But now there is some things back in. I don't even know the specifics, but it said that some recently retired stuff, so just keep that in mind in case you wanted to get something or otherwise missed out on something. Now, the important details, obviously, with Saladin behind us, it is currently Iron Banner, which unveiled some new weapons into the archetype. I know one was that nifty little Stasis sidearm rocket pistol, which already I believe it does have chill clip, and there was one other weapon that I forgot. I think it's the returning Archon's Thunder, although right now I'd be fact checking myself and presenting what exactly it was. Aside from that, in addition to the Iron Banner being present, it is currently boosted Valor, so if you wanted to grind out Iron Banner, guess what? Grinding out the Crucible ranks would be even easier, although that doesn't unfortunately boost your Iron Banner rep. That is all the old factors of wearing armor, wearing an emblem, and other things like that. On the heels of a double rewards Nightfall week, we do have a more manageable Nightfall in terms of farming, although personally my team was able to get Birthplace of the Vile down to 13 minutes on the regular. Now it is the Arms Dealer, which recently rebranded and remastered, so it is a little bit more sandbox current, but at the same time it's not too difficult. This is another one of those Grandmasters that I say, take it slow, deal with the ads, take care of everything in your way, and you will do just fine. It is Cabal heavy, and you do have a Cabal sniper and a quite open battlefield in the battlegrounds ending, but aside from that, it is pretty much a just normal strike, just a little bit tankier enemies. In the retrospect, though, the reward is currently the Slammer's Sword, which I remember being nifty because it is one of the only weapons outside of the sandbox of the 30th anniversary that can gain the Eager Edge perk. However, it is just another Vortex Sword, if I'm recalling off of visuals. I personally don't remember. Of course, I will have something to show what perks are available currently. Personally, I just don't go in for the this sword is better than that sword, because in the end of the day, it's a sword. It is only really useful in very specific aspects of Destiny. Checking in with our friend Shax and our site. Currently, because of the Iron Banner, we won't have any trials this weekend, so keep that in mind for all ye Crucible sweats out there. Aside from that, there doesn't seem to be any Crucible labs, though, as well, maybe also because of the Iron Banner. Speaking of which, the Iron Banner is currently active, and I'm not sure what the mode is, but supposedly maybe Clash, according to my loadout report. But then into our 3v3 scenarios, we do have Survival and the usual comp playlist and the usual rumbles just to keep track of. Now, keep in mind as well, Valor is currently boosted, which means any ranks at Shax will be increased far faster than before. Getting into the rest of our weekly featured activities, for raids, we actually have the first being the Vault of Glass, as well as the Crota's End Reprised Raids. Now, with the Vault of Glass, it's a unique scenario because this is one where the Adept weapons or the Time Lost weapons drop from individual encounters. So if you wanted to target farm any individual weapon or just get them all, of course, that is available at any point during this farming week. Keep that in mind in case you want to find the Found Verdict, because you do need all of the weapons to access the Found Verdict. I digress, though. It is quite farmable in the idea of today, just because we have many more anti-champion methods. And I do recall the champions being present in the Vault of Glass made it a lot more of a pain. But in retrospect, not so difficult. In the same eye, we do have Crota's End as well, which I don't know if the Necrochasm is a random drop, which just keep that in mind with Bexmithia class. You can now farm that infinitely in case you're one of the people who have terrible luck and haven't gotten it. But doubling back, with Crota's End, the Necrochasm, I forget if that is drop officially or if it is all quest related. It's just one of those things where I unfortunately got it during contest mode, so I don't know exactly what's needed to unlock it. I just know what's needed for the catalyst, which is a little in-game or in-raid puzzle. I digress, though. If you need any red borders, specifically from Crota's, that is a good time to go in and farm any of the challenge modes, which as well, the challenge modes are once again active during Crota's End. I don't know why they're not active during the week, but they are active during challenge week, because obviously all challenges are active. So keep that in mind if you're hunting some Crota's End weapons, red borders, or otherwise just getting adepts. The dungeons are the Warlord's Ruin and Grasp of Avarice, which in both respects One dungeon has an exotic that is infinitely farmable, so if you need to farm out the Buried Bloodlines exotic sidearm, you can go ahead and take care of that, or if you're hunting the Catalyst from the Master Mode, again, that is something that is on the table for right now. Otherwise, hunting some of the weapons, maybe Artifice Armor, although personally for Artifice Armor, I'd go more towards Grasp of Avarice in terms of farming. Now, I know there is a bit of a conflict of interest right now because with double Vespers giving Master Artifice Armor, that is an option, but at the same time, I feel like Grasp of Avarice is just a quicker farm outright. Plus, the final boss can drop any piece of armor from his final chest reward, so it's a lot more open farming. Plus, the situation is just a lot faster in general. Plus, it is already known activity. It's a lot rarer to find somebody that hasn't done the 30th anniversary dungeon than somebody who has done Master Vespers. So if you're looking for farm teams, you're more likely to get a Grasp of Avarice going, I feel, nowadays. Realized I missed this last week, but the weekly farming mission is the exotic Vox Obscura mission, which that rewards the Dead Messenger in its crafted form. Probably one of those weapons that received a craftable version and really didn't need it because it didn't really improve anything all too much. Dead Messenger is still mostly a crucible exotic when I think of it, and when the change to shields happened where you didn't need to be so element specific to knock out shields in endgame activities, things that rotate their elements wasn't exactly worth it. Now it's just a stat buff for your elements, which again, that only really resonates with the crucible. However, the weapons available, I would say, is worth getting. There are multiple red borders that are from Season of the Risen that I would certainly recommend getting access to if you wanted to just have an all-around good PvE loadout. I certainly know the Pulse Rifle is good for both PvE and PvP, and the Sniper from the same season is a good tier of damage sniper in case you need something other than Succession or just need a different element. But with that being said, we need to get into our raid challenges, which, for our armor focusing across all of our master raids, the Salvation's Edge is giving mobility-focused armor from Master Mode, Crota's End is giving discipline-focused armor, and the Vault of Glass is giving recovery. So many options in case you wish to farm armor from the raids this week. However, the main challenges, going through all of them, the Salvation's Edge is the Balanced Diet Challenge. The Crota's End, once again being featured, all challenges are active. The Root of Nightmares is the All Hands Challenge, which is, I believe, is 4th encounter. The King's Fall is Hands Off, which I keep forgetting whatever that one is. Vowed Disciple is the Swift Destruction Challenge, which is 1st encounter. Vault of Glass, once again, weekly featured, so all challenges are active throughout the entire raid. The Deepstone Crypt is the Evolved Trades Challenge, which is the 3rd encounter challenge. And the Garden of Salvation is Leftovers, with Last Wish being Strength of Memory, which is the, I believe, Riven Challenge, thinking off the top of my head. And to wrap it all up for Dares of Eternity, we do have Legend Mode being Vex, Cabal, and I almost said Ballista Arc by habit. Vex, Cabal, and Crota for the 3 encounters you'll be facing in Legend Dares. For week 8 of seasonal challenges, as expected, we have part 2 of the story. Basically, if you hammered out the entire story on last Tuesday, you will have this one for free for the next week as well. But then next is also crafting resource tonics in Eidos Tonic Laboratory. If you don't know, there is a tab in the tonic that is basically you can get more enhancement materials, more glimmer, and otherwise craft those, and that will progress this specific challenge. And there's also Jolting Electricity for defeating Scorn with arc damage in Gambit or Vanguard Ops activities. If you're doing the Grand Masters and are hunting for the Concretaggle and still have Birthplace of the Vile, this is a very good place to take care of that. Next is taking on all challenges for basic completing weekly playlist challenges, including Vanguard Ops, Crucible, Gambit, or seasonal activities. If you hover over any of the activities and the ritual playlist or the seasonal, you'll notice a small challenge tab that is basically a activity that rewards you with either powerful or pinnacle gear. Those are the challenges it refers to for completing them. It can be as simple as just running 9 total strikes for 3 different challenges or otherwise, but go throughout the world, find some challenges that shall allow you to complete this. The next is the Iron Sharpens Iron for completing Iron Banner matches, which keep in mind, anything Iron Banner related can only be done during Iron Banner weeks. So if you don't have this done by the time that Iron Banner is gone for the season, you won't be able to finish it, and you may lose out on the large gift of Bright Dust at the end. And lastly, we have Rapid Precision. For getting Rapid Precision Final Blows, bonus progress for granted defeating Guardians for every defeated target after the second one. So keep that in mind, just be accurate, maybe get a hand cannon or a scout rifle, and you shall progress this passively throughout your time on Destiny. Heading into the Eververse store for Bright Dust collections, we do certainly have plenty of options, a lot of which are not terribly old and returning. So on the front page, we do have a shader that is the Warbrick shader. Ages ago from Season of the Drifter, or Joker's Wild as it is referred to as well. It doesn't look so terrible on basic armor. On the Old Taken King armor, it does look quite ghostly pale, but otherwise it's not a terrible shader. It looks certainly good on Revision 0, which, fun fact, this is the stalemate for when I say shaders could be applied to exotics, and the game certainly knows how to do it. In decent regards, though, the next is the Crown of Vermin, which when I looked at it in preview, it is definitely a lot of colors. Honestly, just from the name, I imagine this was a shader to match the Rat King set that sort of came out last season, with the helmet as well as the various ornaments that I believe the ornament looks just like this color palette. If you wanted to match that one ornament for the Rat King, this was the shader to do it with. Next is a Transmat, which is old from Season of Defiance. The Lattice entrance, which is just the classic Vex entrance from ages ago in Year 1. Next is a Sparrow, which is Ghoultoper 1, which is from the, I believe, Assassin's Creed Valhalla crossover specifically. It was either that or a Gallowhorn set during the time, just because both is Norse and Viking mythology based on the name. And of course, Heimdall there, that's kind of a dead giveaway. Unfortunately, Destiny has been really bad at spawning Sparrows in on their own time. So I may just pull an image of this up just in case you wanted to actually see what it looked like. Next is a helmet for the same associate season with the Assassin's Creed Valhalla or the Sony crossover. I forget exactly what the other classes have. I know the Titan is Ivor from Assassin's Creed Valhalla, but then the other classes, I honestly forget. I think the Hunter was Aloy and the Warlocks were the character from Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. But in that same regard, there is the helmets available from Season of the Seraph's armor set. So if you wish to claim them for free and not have to spend any Bright Dust or go through the archive, it is currently available for purchase. Into our main page of Bright Dust items, going through the Flare and Transmesh, we have Lilac Bombast, which is just one of those ones that I remember being quite soft and the visual representation of spring. Because I think a little bit of Magnolias for some reason. I don't know why that thought came to brain, but it looks quite clean, quite pretty. And we also have the Royal Welcome from Season of Opulence, which is another one of those pseudo callous shaders just from the idea. Yes, the season theme was very callous inspired, but anytime I look at this armor, it feels like it was a runner-up for callous options, but also just didn't make the cut. And next, we have the Byzantium Lotus, which is kind of a similar aspect as it is a dark purple with a bright yellow, which doesn't look so terrible, especially in the Taken King set. It doesn't look half bad, but in its own respect, it's solid, but it does kind of remind me of like a college football team's colors. It looks bright, and it looks good on the specific things, but not anywhere else. And next is a shader that is brand new to this season. This is Ultra Clean, which actually, after looking at it, especially on Revision 0 here, it is a pretty solid, just simple two-tone look for some armor. I will certainly pick this one up right now, but aside from that, it is, again, ultra clean. A shader's designation is actually accurate. Into our Transmat effects, we have the classic Hive Arrival, all the way back from Vanilla Destiny, just green spooky Hive shield. Next is the Vex Incursion effect, which is a different version of that same entrance that we just saw earlier in the Bright Dust store, just a different color. Once again, evidence of Bungie loving to reshader their Transmats. And lastly, the Resurrected Shadow, which is from Season of the Deep, which, if I'm remembering, this is supposed to be just Shadow Legion spawn-in entrance effects. But then we have an emote, the Metal Detector emote, which is new to this season, which I forget if this one actually ends in any way, or if it's actually, no, it just has its own simple progress to go for. So it's another one of those emotes that just it's a fun little one, if I recall, but, you know, you're just kind of left hunting for a while. And I think if you find something, it's, well, given that, it's actually some trash. And just as it, yep, no, that's just a nothing. So there you go. Next is the Swagger March emote, which there you go. If you want to look like a fool or an idiot, either way. The next is the Lepus Major, or Lepus, some way, but basically Rabbit Major Shell, which is a match from the Jade Rabbit set that is kind of in the store right now, based on that one Jade Rabbit emote, or not emote, ornament, basically more Jade Rabbit for your ghost. The next is the Kit Bash Flyer, which is a ship that is supposed to be Drifter personified. I believe this is the same one from that one initial Beyond Light cinematic that we never saw more of, aside from that one cinematic, but you know, Drifter ship, in case you wanted something small and Drifter style. And the Overpacked Sparrow, this is from Season of the Deep as well. In another case of never appearing sparrows, I will just go ahead and throw a picture on this one beforehand. And lastly, and probably the best, we have the Galatine Protocol, which is for Vexcalibur, a very handy glaive, which, honestly, I don't hate it. I like the look of Vexcalibur just because it's very thematic. I do like the ornament look. I just don't know if I pick it over basic Vexcalibur. Then again, that is just me. It is up to the eye of the beholder to determine whether or not they wish to have this one and have their Vex look more clean and regal as opposed to Vexy. In the last regards, actually lastly and definitely least, a pineapple projection. I'm taking a pause to make you think, why the hell is this a thing? It's not even seasonal or for solstice. But in that regard, that is the end of the reset update. I hope you enjoyed, or at least keeping up to date, learned something new. I would hope that you do leave a comment, like, subscribe, do the usual YouTube stuff. It definitely, again, helps out the channel in the long run. But with that, my name is TheMadScorpyon. I will see you in the next video.